The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss seed saving, as well as where are we at since the pandemic in the gardening world. Our guest is author Tama Wong will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour's full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you've chose us to spend a little time with today. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you've tuned into the program today, whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2024 through a radio app, through our parent website, which is thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. At the top of the page, a Season 8 tab, podcast replay, in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for doing such. If you got a question or you want to communicate with us, you can do that in two simple avenues. Toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's toll free, 1-800-927-7469, or gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Well, before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's joke of the week.
Why? Okay, the joke of the week is, why did the lettuce blush?
Because it saw the salad or something like that?
It saw the salad dressing.
Oh, it saw the salad dressing.
Yeah, that's why. I think it's why the tomato blush. I had the joke memorized and I forgot.
Okay. This week's joke is brought to you by Rescue.com.
Rescue has American-made products to keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. You can learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Though we're in the middle of growing, it's always a important opportunity to plan on what the next season is, or the next step in gardening. Whether you're a farmer, whether you're a landscaper, whether you work on cars, you play golf, what's that next step? What's going to happen? Planning ahead. Seed saving is where I'm getting at with this.
So speaking of tomatoes.
Yes.
Tomato seed saving is unique in compared to some other seed saving techniques. So as most people know, tomato seeds have that gelatinous slime around the seed. You might not even notice it. Maybe you do. I don't know. But you're like, how do I save tomato seeds if it has the gelatinous slime? So what you can do is you can take a, just like a jar, old jar, whatever. You could use a bowl, but you probably want something you can put a cover over easily. And you put just a little bit of water in there. You put your tomato seeds in there. And after a couple of days, it's going to kind of ferment. You don't want to leave it for too long. Then you nicely rinse them out with like a tea strainer or like a nice fine mesh strainer. Set them like on a paper towel to dry. And then that's how you save your seeds. You want to make sure you label them through the entire process. Now,
you can save the tomatoes. You're not really going to have that big of a concern of cross-pollination. But if you do have that occur, you can have a unique variety. And that's how some of these varieties have been created. Now, you want to save seeds from organic or heirloom varieties. Hybrid is not recommended to be saved seeds, and this is across the board, not just tomatoes, because the hybrid seed has been altered or mimicked, bred in a laboratory, not genetically modified, even though there is a purple tomato out there that is. These hybrid seeds, it's the best qualities of two parents, and that's how they get the offspring. You can plant that tomato hybrid seed that you saved. You're still going to get a tomato, but it may not be the duplicate of the beautiful red, yellow, orange, purple tomato in which you had harvested prior. So keep that in mind when you are saving seeds. Now, talking about cross-pollination. Tomatoes, you don't have to worry about it too much. Cucumbers, however, if you're trying to save cucumber seeds and you've got more than one variety in the garden, don't worry about they're going to cross-pollinate. Just go to jungseed.com, JUNGSEED.com, and use coupon code 10TG24 and just buy new seeds later on in the year. Or you can buy them now and just save them. Seeds are good for multiple years if kept in a cool, dry place. And you want to be aware of this with other seeds as well, that there is a possibility based on the cross-pollination aspect. Bush beans, pole beans, simplistic to save. You just let them dry on the vine and harvest them.
Right. And so what you want to do is, as Joe had mentioned, a lot of the stuff you can let dry, but you want to be aware, again, of labeling. And then also...
Oh, I'll remember the 27 tomato seeds that I saved on these plates.
But it's not even that. It's also just like if you harvest all your beans and you're like, this bag is probably pole beans and this bag is probably bush beans, and then next spring you're like, what? Okay, which was which? So just make sure that you are labeling them. And then when it comes to the heirloom seeds versus the hybrid, again, Joe had mentioned that you want to make sure you're only saving the organic or heirloom. But if you want to save the hybrid and see what happens when you grow it, I would suggest doing that because it could be kind of interesting.
Some indications, or some people have indicated that it takes about 7 years to get back to that that variety in which you wanted to save. The hybrid you bought and you save that seed, takes about 6-7 generations in order to get back to that. I don't know how accurate that is. But with tomatoes, with peppers, with anything that you're saving seeds on, you want to wait until that fruit is as mature, almost rotting off the vine, to make sure those seeds are as mature as possible. Not every seed that you're going to save is going to be viable, but by allowing the plant to, for example, peppers, green peppers are immature peppers. They're not ripe peppers. You let them sit on the vine for another 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to get orange, red, yellow, a variety of rainbow colors there. And that is the time in which the seed is at its peak viability. If it's not going to get, if it is not matured at that point, it's not going to.
Now, you might ask yourself, why do I want to save seeds?
Why do I want to
save seeds? If I can just go to Junk Seed and order seeds, or, my cousin always has too many seeds, so I just take his seeds, whatever. You want these seeds over time, or these plants, vegetables over time, will become acclimated to your ecosystem, which I think is a really cool thing, especially if you are living in a spot for a long time, or will be living in a spot for a long time. Then over the time, saving them year after year after year, they'll become, for your little own backyard or front yard or whatever side yard ecosystem, and it could even become like more pest resistant or drought resistant or whatever it may be. Now, you can't sell those seeds and say they're drought resistant,
right,
but it will become more familiar to your home.
So what that kind of means in a way is, if you live in Florida and you move up to Minnesota, there's a different type of weather conditions in Minnesota than there is Florida. You may not be acclimated or able to or enjoy the cold weather up there. Same thing if Minnesota goes down, Minnesota goes down to Florida. There's a difference in humidity. It's getting acclimated or accustomed to, I guess, in the most simplistic way of explaining the acclimating of the seeds in your own backyard.
Correct. So that is a good way to explain it, for sure.
Now, you don't have to save seeds. This is not you're a bad gardener if you don't save seeds. There are certain things in which it's difficult to save seeds. Your brassicas, your onions, your leeks, your carrots, meaning that they are biennials. You grow them this year. If you leave that onion alone, and that leek, and don't touch it, next spring it's going to create a seed pod and then utilize all the energy in the root system, that bulb, or in the crown of the leek, and it's going to put seeds on in that flower. Same thing with rutabaga, Swiss chard, turnips, many of these. So you may not have the time or the space to utilize, hey, I'm going to leave this half of the garden alone for seeds, and now I'm going to plant. You've lost half of your growing ability.
Right. Yeah. So it is smart to do what makes sense for you, and maybe you just don't have the time or patience. So when you store these seeds, you do want to store them like any other seed in a cool, dry area. You want to label them. If you
want to let them dry.
You want to let them dry for
multiple weeks in an indirect light.
Yeah, see, if you have like a spare table or something, corner, bookshelf, whatever it may be, just make sure they are in direct light, they are fully dry. Because if they're not fully dry and you go to store them, they're going to mold.
Do not put them in a plastic zip top bag. These need to be in envelopes or a breathable material so they can breathe. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a moldy mess, even if you think your seeds are dry.
Yeah, we don't like moldy messes.
No. So this is, there's many ways, and for example, radishes, we leave some radishes to go to seed in the garden, and dill is another one in our front yard garden where we haven't planted dill in that garden since 2010, and we have more dill than we need to. It just keeps reseeding. It can be an invasive species in some states. Radishes continue, when the pods get green, you can eat them. They dry, they drop to the ground. Then we have hundreds of radishes. Parsnips is a biennial. That will happen. We've had that happen where we've had parsnips coming up all over the garden. Now, this is not necessarily a negative thing. It can be kind of overwhelming, and kind of you got to work through and destroy these seeds, these plants in the spring that are coming up, or you can transplant them. So you want to be smart about what you're letting go to seed. If you're going to do that, what is it? I want to call it permaculture, but I don't think that's the right term, where you let things go to seed and just let nature take its course.
It can be kind of permaculture or
self-sufficient, because you're letting nature drop the seeds and then it'll sprout. Well, we see this year after year in tomato gardening. The tomatoes drop, or they rot and they fall,
and then you get the volunteers.
We get the volunteer tomatoes. Yeah.
So that can happen too, where you have the mystery tomato or the mystery whatever, and then you do grow that, so you are saving seeds, I guess, in a way. But
that is important to know and be able to identify what seedlings look like, so you're not pulling them out thinking they are a weed.
Right. I almost accidentally did that with some flowers I planted. The flower looked kind of like a weed, and I wasn't really paying attention. I almost pulled it out. So keep that in mind.
Walton's Incorporated, keep those individuals in mind as well when it comes to your spices and your seasonings or tools that you need for butchering your harvest.
Walton's knows that you care about the quality of where your food comes from. You can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product to your high standards. You can also go to meatgistics.com. They have an informational, helpful community of over 15,000 users with the help and opinions of guidance of meat processing issues. They have decades of experience in the meat processing industry and are trying to bring the information for the home processor. Walton's has a full brand of stuffers, mixers, and now meat grinders. If you go to waltonsinc.com, you can find all the information. Meatgistics.com is the helpful community. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more at waltonsinc.com.
When we return, where is the numbers at from post-pandemic? We had a great number. Everybody was gardening before or during when it happened. Where are we at now? You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com. Make hand watering easy and enjoyable with HoseLink retractable hose reels. No more tripping over hoses, kinks, tangles, and avoiding rolling the hose up. With an automatic retractable HoseLink saves you time and effort manually coiling up your hose, leaving your focus on the things that will bring you joy in your garden. Available in multiple colors and lengths, you'll be sure to find the retractable hose that works for you. To find out more and to buy online via hoselink.com. Use coupon code RADIO10 for $10 discount. Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit Ivy HomeMadeOrganics.com. Use promo code Radio10 to save 10% off your order. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. That coupon code is ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Moments away. Post-pandemic gardening. Where are we at? Is it still as strong as it once was? We'll go over the numbers. But first, a word from Honey Bee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Attracting pollinators to your garden this year is as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar, water, and Honey Bee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honey Bee Healthy Inc. is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honey Bee Healthy Original to the show's listeners. Enter discount code BEEGARDEN, that's BEE Garden, at checkout. For more information, mixing instructions, and for more to purchase products, visit honeybeehealthy.com. All right.
Well, for those who are not able to capture those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. Click on the money tab at the top of the page. They're all listed for you. Post-pandemic gardening. For many of us, it may have been a horrible time in which the world, things happened. But in the gardening world, many people resorted to doing gardening activities because of a variety of reasons. They felt that they couldn't go out. They felt it was safer at home. We'll leave it at that. So during the pandemic, there was a lot of people that was gardening. In 2022, for example, 80% of households took part in lawn and garden activities, which was a 5-year high according to the National Garden Association. 2023 survey, the spending on lawn and garden activities rose to an average of $616 per household. That was in 2022. $616 average per household was being spent on gardening products and things.
That's a lot.
That's an average. So that means there was people spending thousands of dollars and there was people spending $50. And when you do the math, it averages out to $616 per household in 2022. That was up $74 from 2021.
Right, and I don't know if we have any data yet on 2024 because most garden seasons at this point
it takes a while to get that to calculate.
Because it's mid to end of July here, and the spring garden season is 12 weeks, I think, starting in like May. So they could still be figuring that out. But I mean, even we noticed it with our views on our main what do you call our host website?
Our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, our YouTube channel, which is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, our podcast that some of you may be listening to. Numbers were extremely vertical, high.
For sure. And we definitely noticed that there has been a little bit of a drop in our viewership. But also, I have learned people feel a little bit uneasy about the economy with grocery prices and things, and they are now looking into, okay, I do need to learn how to garden. I need to learn how to do things. So we might see a spike in the next year.
Well, and maybe it's not so much I need to garden or I need to have. Maybe I should learn some skills.
That's another thing is people want to learn skills. I know that a lot of the younger kids are like, I don't have the skills to do XYZ and I want to learn it. And that's one thing that a lot of social media has brought people together and encouraged them to learn. And I think sometimes people will see it as negative, like, oh, my kid's always on his phone. But I know for me, like, I learned stuff on social media myself. So, and that's what a lot of these young
people need to fix brakes, need to fix a chimney, YouTube.
Definitely.
But don't watch the first one. Watch a couple of them because there's always one that's oddball. You know, you take the brakes and you put bleach. Don't do that. No, there's always one that's a little off.
Right. Even on my car, we bought a newer car over winter, and I had to learn how to do something. I don't know, some button, whatever it was, and I went to YouTube to figure it out. So there's a lot of great information out there, and that's what's helpful, and that can help, for the gardening. And I feel like there's even more information, and I agree with what Joey said. Don't go for the first one. I mean, even if it's just like, heck, a makeup tutorial, sometimes you want to go through and figure out what works best for you.
This article in which we're reading from the Associated Press, it also mentions this garden. One positive developed: younger households are participating in the gardening activity, 18 to 34-year-olds in that age group, and 35 to 44-year-old age group has a larger increase in spending than older households, and trends that the summer thinks will continue to go up. So garden centers are very, very, they have a very small window. They have a very small window in which they can profit. And that's why we encourage you to go to your local independent garden center in order to support them. Yes, the big box store has this and has that. But some of these independent garden centers, they only run for a couple of weeks and that's it. They bank everything on it. There's other ones that they do snow removal, they do landscape design, they do mulch, and they have a yard. So they're a little more.
They might have some house plants, or they might have some native plants, or like fall bulbs, whatever. But they don't do a huge production, or their huge production is those 12 weeks of the beginning of gardening season. So you want to keep that in mind as well. In the local garden centers are going to have helpful people who are educated, who have experience, who know things, as opposed to if you go to the big box store, you got John from Paint who's just filling in, and you're like, is this a good plant? He's like, it looks like a good plant, and you don't know, he doesn't know, and all of a sudden now you have this plant that you paid for. It may have been 2 for $5 at the regular garden center, it was like $6, but if you still pay for it, doesn't work for you, then that's still money you lose. The spring season is crucial to these garden centers. They make about 60%, if not more, of their 60 to 75% of their sale during the 12-month spring, according to the report. So that is a massive, and in the north, there are even fewer weeks in order to make that happen. Now, we're not from the south, but I understand, like, if you're in Texas and places like that, come middle of summer, it's like spring again. They have more plant starts. Yeah, because they have to take that break.
Right, because nothing grows when it's 100. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something to, I think is very interesting, is how the pandemic shaped a lot of our lives, but also in regards to gardening. I know that a lot of people were new into gardening. Like, for example, my boss at the time, he had built some raised beds in order to garden, and then he ended up moving and he left the raised beds there, and now he's gardening again with different raised beds. But it's something a lot of people took on because they wanted to, do something kind of. I think it gives you a sense of control when there was a lot of uncertainty. uncertainty for sure.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, and now, just like anything, if something becomes popular, I don't know if we should want to say popular, but I guess
gardening is the most popular hobby in North America.
Yeah, so if it becomes increasingly popular, there's going to be a drop off for a little bit, but then I think it's going to steady out, pick back up again. And also, the nice thing about gardening is kind of a gardening is kind of a timeless hobby. So if you are like, I did this, and and then I stopped for a bit because I was busy, or I moved, or built a house, whatever, you can always pick it back up. You probably still have a shovel and some pots and who knows what, some sort of fertilizer. I know, like, even for me, I was feeling kind of bored with gardening, so I decided to grow, this is flowers, but I decided
That's
to
gardening.
grow. I'm talking about gardening in general.
Yeah.
I decided to grow on our porch. I kind of redecorated it, I guess, and I decided to grow, it's called a goth garden, which is mostly just like dark colored flowers, but it's been fun. It's brought more joy back to my life. I work from home, so I go out there when it's not scorching hot outside on my lunch and breaks, and it's nice.
Well, now, if you've gone to a garden center, and we encourage you, and we hope you have done such, and you've done this a couple of years in a row, you will have seen prices are up at the garden center. This is due to fill-in-the-blank issue, okay? Shorter staff, younger people, for whatever reason, may not feel like they want to work at a garden center, whatever the case is. We have now older people that shouldn't be working now have to work in order to support that's a whole nother show, a whole nother type of podcast, a whole nother radio show for different people on the station here to discuss that. But we've seen it in our experience where a romaine lettuce plant would be $4 one year, $5 the next, $6 the next year for one romaine plant. Now, you can go to the grocery store and buy 3 romaine heads for like $2.53. So there is that's one of these things that if you can start your own seeds, you can buy 100 romaine. I guess it's 100 romaine seeds for like $1.25, $1.50. That's a lot of seeds versus paying twice that for one plant. So and tomatoes and peppers, we see that each year they continue to go up in price because of fuel charges and labor shortages and fill in the blank. So that's part of if you can't start all of your seeds indoors in the spring, try to start the ones in which you know are going to be the most expensive.
Welcome to the Garden Economics Show with Joy and Holly.
They don't want to know what I think. They
don't want to know what I think either. No, so we're going to keep that to ourselves.
Yeah, we'll lose half, and the other half will be super fans.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Speaking of super fans, you can always give us a call if you have any questions or thoughts, opinions at 1-800-927-SHOW. 1-800-927-7469. And you can email us.
GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com.
But don't talk to us about the economy because you don't want to know.
Yeah. As the summer is heating up, we're in full swing now. Nasty Japanese beetles are certainly there and excited to wreak havoc on your garden and your lawn.
If you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts. Derived from a naturally occurring soil bacteria, Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder with water and spray it on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pests will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product, you know it's going to be a great choice to use on your fruits and vegetables in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only is Beetle Gone, does it work, the best part about it, it is safe to be used around beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees. You can find all that information at BeetleGone.com. That's BeetleGone.com. Hang out with us when we come back. Tama Wong will be with us, author. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Are you ready to take control of your home's comfort? With Mr. Cool DIY Direct, empower yourself with our top-notch do-it-yourself cooling and heating solution. Introducing the Mr. Cool 4th Generation Mini Split, the DIY-friendly way to keep your home perfectly comfortable all year round. Our systems come with everything you need for installation, including our patented pre-charge line sets, eliminating the need for expensive professional help. Visit MrCoolDIYDirect.com to learn more and to take the first step towards a cooler, more comfortable home. Don't forget, use promo code GARDEN for a special discount and free nationwide shipping. Mr. Cool DIY Direct. Cool your house, heat your space, all by yourself.
Water supply tanks provide BPA-free, long-term safe storage for drinking water from 35 to 1,500-gallon tanks. Water supply tanks has you covered. From preparing for unexpected needs, off-grid property, easy gardening access, and more. For questions and to order, visit watersupplytanks.com and use coupon code GARDENING10 to save 10% off your order. Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow, stimulates the natural enzymes, and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net.
Take the guesswork out of composting with the AeroBin 400 or smaller 200 for easy composting. The AeroBin mimics how nature decomposes waste. The AeroBin is easy to use. You prepare your balanced organic waste, just open it up, drop it in, and close. After a short time, fertile compost is produced, which is easily accessed via the lower side door. The thermal insulation in the AeroBin conserves heat, leading to rapid breakdown of the biomass and works efficiently year-round, even in cooler regions. There is no need to turn the biomass, and it is patent rodent resistant. It has little odor and can kill annoying weeds and seeds. It is BPA free. The AeroBin 400 or 200 comes with a reservoir at the bottom to collect the leachate. When diluted, makes for great compost tea liquid fertilizer. AeroBin composts kitchen and garden waste quickly. Easy to assemble with no special tools needed. The AeroBin makes composting rewarding and easy. Go to Costco.com to purchase. Are you bugged by bugs? You need naturally green products. No More Bugs, environmentally friendly. Made in the USA, No More Bugs is a cedar blend that repels and eliminates mosquitoes, no-see-ums, ticks, fleas, roaches, ants, and more. No More Bugs is safe for you, your pets, and plants. Available online at nomorebugs.net, Amazon, Walmart.com, and the Home Shopping Network. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated seed company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG24 to save 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That coupon code is 10TG24 at jungseed.com for 10% off.
Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you've taken time to be part of the program today. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Tama Matsuoka Wong is a forager, weed eater, wild farmer, and meadow doctor. She is the author of the Backyard Field Guide and cookbook Forage Flavor, which was nominated for a James Beard Award in 2013. And she also that was also followed by Scraps, Wilton Weeds with Cher Mads Ruffsland. And now Into the Weeds is her latest book called Into the Weeds, How to Garden Like a Forager. Welcome to the program, Tama.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. How did you get into foraging? Was it something that was customary that you learned as a child, or you found later on in life and thought, this is pretty cool, I should look into this?
It was customary because my mother always used to make us go, my brother and I go out and get things for her. But we didn't call it foraging. We called it picking things for mom.
Okay. Just a way of life. Knew no different.
Well, she would be like, go pick those mulberries, okay? And then, or go pick that dandelion. She would just tell us to go pick it, and we would. And I guess that's foraging. But nobody called it foraging then.
That makes sense. So what is a meadow doctor?
Okay, so a meadow doctor, the reason I say that is because what I do is, you know how a doctor makes house calls? So people may call me, and they call me a lot of times about they've moved to a new place, or they tried to make something and then it didn't turn out the way they thought it would. This is, in their yard. Or it could be that they just had this kind of wild area, and they want to know, like, well, what about it? Is there anything cool there or whatever? So I'll just go and kind of do like a little assessment, like a house check.
Right.
Is the patient sick or like good, or things are going good? That kind of thing.
And then based on what you see, you can advise that person, here's what you need to add or change or modify in order to get the result that they're looking for.
It's less like that. More, I think there's two parts of it. One is, around here, I don't know how much it is around there, but we have a lot of invasive plants. People get very overwhelmed by invasive plants. Like, it'll just be this huge thing of bramble.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just like, where do I even start with this? So then I try and look for where the good things, like, oh my gosh, this is really great here. So if you're going to, work on any area, start here, or that might be like one way. So it wouldn't be so much like do this to do what you think, because I'm not so much looking at it as I have a goal. Like, that's, this is my goal, that I want this to look like this picture or something like that. I wouldn't be trying to get them to do that.
Okay.
So your latest book is called Into the Weeds, How to Garden Like a Forager. Give us kind of a synopsis of it, and then also something that might pique our listeners' interest to go pick up a copy.
Okay, well, I think it's a different way to look at a garden. So it's less about going in with a plan and a little design and saying, okay, everything has to look like this. It's more just saying what is already there. So if you look at the plants, what plants are already there, and don't just think automatically that they're, old, useless weeds. It could be something really great, something you could use. And just because you didn't plant it or plan it doesn't mean it's not a really great thing. In fact, it could be even easier to garden because it's already there.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
With your experience on that, what is one of your favorite foraged plants that you learned that it was really better than what maybe you didn't know?
Well, one thing for me was sumac. It's a native tree, and it has this it's very easy to identify. I don't know if you have a lot of it there, but it has like a red cluster, and then a lot of people think it's poison sumac, which has a white cluster, not red. Okay. And so people try and cut it down, but it's actually really healthy and really good for you. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to water it, you don't have to fertilize it, et cetera, et cetera. So, that's one. Another is juniper, and I know juniper is spreading in the Midwest. Because I really love juniper, and you can use it for so many things, but a lot of people want to get rid of it right away. And in fact, I met some people from, I think, Kansas or something, and they're saying like, oh, why don't you come over here and like just take all this juniper from a place that we don't want. So those are some things that I found that some people don't like, but I think they're great, and they're also really useful for so many things.
And with foraging, someone has to have a little knowledge, because there are copycat plants. Here's the good one, here's the bad one that looks like the good one, and the bad one can kill you.
So in terms of plants, there are far more like edible plants than there are toxic, poisonous plants. But I do think you should know what you're doing, and you can just start with one plant. I wouldn't try and learn like 500 plants. And I think if you start with one plant that, like a dandelion, I think that's pretty easy for people. And then just kind of get to know that plant, and then you get to see like when is it. One thing about eating is it's a lot about texture, right? And so if you're eating it when it's very stringy, you're not going to think it tastes good, but you're probably eating it when it's too mature or tough, or it's in an area where it's pretty beaten down and very rough. So if you looked at the dandelion and how and when it grew, and you saw that in the center it was like light green and young, then those would be the most tender and sweeter parts to eat. So that would be my advice, not to start with trying to know too many different plants, and just start with some easy ones that I think a lot of people will know.
That's definitely very helpful. So when you garden like a forager, You had mentioned, like if you have a client who has brambles and they're trying to kind of control them with other plants, what would you suggest, if somebody were to try to garden like a forager and they had invasive plants? Would you, like in Wisconsin, we have purple loose strife. And they'll, I can't think of the name of the plant that is recommended to plants that's a native plant, and it's not coming to me. But is that kind of what you do? Is that how you kind of garden like a forager to control the invasive plants, or what are some tips there?
So a lot of times I'm not planting something in. So if I see something that's already there, we're kind of talking about weeds, because when I say into the weeds, a lot of people think like anything that they didn't put there is a weed, right? They didn't want there. So I'm just saying that look for where there's some weeds that are kind of good weeds or good to eat weeds, or they're useful. If you look for those, then maybe just around that area, you can try and manage back any invasive plants so it gives them more room. So I'm not necessarily saying to start off by planting a lot of things, because a lot of times if you plant something, a plant somewhere, it's not going to survive over a long time because it's not either accustomed to there, or it's not able to fight off the invasive plant. But if you find a plant that's already surviving, that's in situ, that's already there, I think there's something very singular and unique about that plant that is growing without you having planted it. And those are the kinds of weeds that are maybe weeds that are worthwhile saving.
Right. And when we talk about, wild foraging, I think of asparagus, I think of wild strawberries, I think of, what was the other thing I just had and I lost it? But there's common things, dandelions, rams,
garlic mustard.
Are all things that I think of.
Garlic mustard, yes. So you can eat invasive plants too to kind of manage them.
Right. Why should people not be intimidated by foraging? People may think, I don't know anything about it. I'll just let the experts, and I'll just plant my little garden over here and keep to myself. Why? What would you encourage people in that mindset?
Well, okay, there's a couple things. First of all, I do think if you're completely intimidated, if you go around with someone, even one of you, if you said you seem like a couple, and just go around with somebody, I think it's a really good idea to learn with somebody, because it's very difficult to substitute for that, and in a way that's bad. That it's something that someone can actually show you, and you can't just get a kind of blip on a TV and know everything. And then in a way, that's what's great about it, if you're there with another, because in a way, then you're starting to use and rely more on your own senses. Like they'll say, okay, look at this, look how this is, see how that leaf is growing. And you'll start to become more confident in your own observations. And I think that's one of the real beauties of it, because we've gotten so used to getting our food that it has to have a label on it, right? If it doesn't have a label on it, then I don't know, right? It could be, right? Or even if you plant something and it first comes up and you can't tell what it is, it's like, I don't have a label, I don't know whether that's a pea or not, right? So just getting used to kind of using your own observation, which everyone has innately because we are all humans, and just learning to, and not just relying on if it doesn't have, an ingredient label on it or some package with a label, then I'm afraid to touch it,
That makes a lot of sense. Have you ever had to kind of encourage or hold the hand of somebody who's like, I have all of this invasive plant and I just want to eradicate it, I don't want to deal with it, but you're like, you have this beautiful, natural, weedy but still beautiful space, and you know how some gardeners are, where they're like, I want this,
get it out.
I want to look like Better Homes and Gardens, whatever cover. Do you ever come across that where you kind of are encouraging your client to maybe like keep some of what they think they want,
like a fallow part, a fallow area,
okay.
Like
a wild and free feral area or something? I don't know.
So and sometimes it's between like the spouses. Like one spouse will be all gung ho, right, to kind of let things go a little, and then the other one will not be happy with that. So one of the things I say in my book is how to kind of start, like how to just start with a patch, right? To start with some patch. You don't have to you don't have to be extreme and go crazy, but just one area, that you feel like, okay, that area I feel pretty comfortable not having it look completely manicured or whatever, you want it to look like. So I think that's a good way to start, is just you don't have to make it too big. It can just be like a little area.
Yeah, that's definitely very helpful. And I'm sure it's interesting having different spouses with their opposing desires.
Really is.
You're like, am I a meadow doctor or a marriage counselor here?
That's right.
Well, we really enjoyed having you on the program, Tama. How can people find out more about you and your great information and your books?
Well, I do think, a lot of people who say they want to trail me or they want to come to my house or something. And so I did write it so that if you want to know what I do, that's what I do. I put like everything, it's very holistic. I put like everything. It's not a book about here's the 500 edible plants. It's more about sort of relating to plants and relating to the place that they grow. But I think in the end, you develop those skills and you get that kind of regeneration from being with nature. So I kind of wrote about it, but you can also, I'm on Instagram, I'm Meadows and More, and I also have a website.
And Meadows and More is the website as well?
Yeah.
Well, Tama, we greatly appreciate the time in which you've offered us and the education, not only for Holly and myself, but all of our listeners about foraging and how to go about doing it and doing it successfully.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's going to be your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com.
Happy 65th anniversary to David J. Frank, southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com. Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order.
Your mosquito frustrations are over. Now with Mega Catch, suitable for residential and commercial use. Mega Catch mosquito traps produce a vast array of mosquito-attracted stimuli, including safe CO2, and can attract mosquitoes and other biting insects up to 150 feet away. Easy to use and set up. The Mega Catch is ready to make your outdoor space comfortable and enjoyable at megacatch.com. Use coupon code JOEYB, my name Joey B, at checkout and receive 20% discount on your entire trap order at megacatch.com. Have insects such as aphids or fungal gnats invaded your plants? Fight back with Summit year-round spray oil and Summit mosquito bits. Organic Summit year-round spray oil kills insect pests on indoor and outdoor plants. All natural mosquito bits kill fungal gnats larvae in container plants. Both products are harmless to people, plants, and wildlife. Summit year-round spray oil and Summit mosquito bit are available at garden centers, hardware stores, and at summitresponsibleSolutions.com.
Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you so much for being with us today. You've got time for your garden questions and our garden answers. Question and answer time. Send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or give us a call toll free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. If we can't get to you, leave a message and we will call you back. Going to go to the hotline. We have a question from Jeff, listening to us on Joy 1340 AM and 98.7 FM, and on our flagship station here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hey folks, this is Jeff R. I live in southeast Wisconsin, suburbs of Milwaukee. I was just listening to your show about garden pests, which, like all your shows, was amazing. And I heard you talk about beetles, but I don't know if you guys have this problem recently. My problem isn't beetles, it's slugs. With all of the dampness in the weather that we've experienced in southeast Wisconsin, I've got slugs running amok in my brassicas and in my peppers. Now, I've used beer traps to actually some pretty good effect in both the peppers and the brassicas, but every night at about 8 o'clock, I'm still out there just hunting for some slugs and making sure that the beer traps are all full. And I feel like this is just my lot in life this season, because one thing is another. And so I'm just wondering if there is a different and better way of trying to control slugs. I have a fenced-in garden, and so getting beneficial insects has been problematic, though next year I'm going to get a little pond area going to get some frogs to help. But let me know if there's something that's better than beer traps.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for listening and your kind words about the program. We're happy you enjoy it. Holly, how can we help Jeff with his slug problem so he doesn't have to spend hours and wasting a lot of what people may consider good beer, drowning them in? Well, first of all, explain what a beer trap is for those whom are not familiar with that particular term.
Wait, familiar with what?
A beer trap.
A beer trap. So what you do is you take a mug, a cup,
shallow
dish, like a tuna can, shallow dish, and you bury it so that it's level with the ground. So you bury it like, a tuna can is like, 2 inches deep. So you bury it 2 inches deep so that it's level with the ground. And then the slugs are attracted to that. They go in there, they fall in, and they meet their demise. So
hoppier beer, the better.
Yeah, they like hoppy beer. So yeah, that's what the beer traps are. So to deal with the slugs, aside from...
It can get quite expensive, though.
Yeah. To deal with the slugs, especially if it's hoppy or beer, to deal with the slugs, you can also do that. You can do that, and then you can also get diatomaceous earth, and then you sprinkle it around each plant, like a full circle around each plant at the base, and that will prevent them because they don't like that grittiness. So then they stay away. Some people, say use sand, but then you're adding sand to your garden. Diatomaceous earth is not diatomaceous. Did I say that right?
DE is the short term. Diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, is a very helpful tool in the garden. So there's that too, and it's not going to.
It's a natural product as well.
It's a natural product. It's not going to cause any. If like you're adding sand. Not that you're going to add a bunch of sand, but it's just better than adding sand. Some people say, sprinkle on the leaves, but these slugs are going up to the bottom of the leaves. You can't really sprinkle from the bottom. Right. So, yeah.
And you also want to clear away any debris that may be around the base of the plant, any mulch, because they're sliding under that mulch. It's going to be damp, whatever that mulch is, and then accessing the plant and working its way up the plant and dissolving and consuming the plant. So that is also a way in which you can help reduce the population. I forget the guest we had on, took grapefruit. Empty grapefruit shell, ate the grapefruit and then flipped the grapefruit casing skin upside down, and they would all kind of congregate under that. You can also use boards, and you can scrape them off and put them in, get rid of them that way as well every day. Why are my cucumbers so bitter? Well, cucumbers taste bitter from a number of reasons, including stress, the plant, poor watering, temperature, fluctuation, pest, disease, cross-pollination issues, meaning the plant we talked about in segment 1, that you've got a cross between a couple of varieties and they don't jive very well together, so it creates a very off-tasting cucumber. So that is potentially why not enough light can also cause the issue. But watering is one of the keys, and that potential stressing the plant out. Stressing any plant out is never problematic. There's always a negative response of the plant when it is stressed out.
Yeah, it's always problematic.
Smaller fruit, bitter fruit. It's not worried about fruit production. It's working on seed production. So that's a couple of reasons there. Keep your plants watered, hydrated, and use good seeds if good reputable seeds if you're buying, and make sure if you're saving them that you don't have the opportunity or the possibility of certain varieties that cross with each other. What is it? Pumpkin and zucchini, or pumpkin or squash and zucchini can cross, and then you get this weird looking
squashini.
Squashini. It looks like a spaghetti squash, but you cut it open and it has it looks like a zucchini, and it's not very good.
No, it's kind of weird.
It's not. It's very dense and
kind of mealy.
Yeah.
I think it was mealy.
Yeah, it's not very good. All right, my corn is tasseling, but it's only about 3 foot tall, and it does not show any signs of ears. What happened? Again, stressed. Water.
Yeah,
Didn't
stress
water
water.
enough.
Exactly. A lot of times when plants do that, when they grow quickly, or not quickly, but they start to do their point of reproduction phase quickly, it is often because of stress, because they're like, okay, I'm stressed, maybe they don't have enough water, could be whatever reason they're stressed, and they want to go into plants are only, if plants had brains, their brains are, or their intuition is to just survive and to reproduce. So when they start doing weird things like putting on flowers early, or tasseling or whatever, it's because they're feeling stressed and they want to reproduce themselves. So that's what's going on.
Now, there's no way of turning this around. The plant they're done. Just chop them, put them in the compost pile, throw them in a pile on the side, and you can probably get a new crop planted. I know there's some varieties that will take as little as about 76 days to reach maturity. So go ahead and remove these plants now. You can chop them, or you can pull them up, put them in the compost pile, and you can replant with a variety in which is maybe got a little shorter time frame. And then you can mulch, you can water, and you can prevent this from happening. Or rip them out and plant something else in that spot. Go to your local farmer's market and buy sweet corn that is grown locally for like quarter to 33 to 40 to 50 cents an ear. Because of the energy in which it takes to grow an ear of corn is tremendous compared to the amount of energy it takes to grow a tomato plant that will produce 15 or 20 pounds of tomatoes over a growing season. You're getting 15 to 20 pounds of tomatoes over a growing season versus 1 square foot of area for one stalk of corn, with a maximum of 2 ears of corn if fully pollinated and completely fill it out. So keep that in mind. We tried it once in order to do a video to show that it was capable. We were capable of doing it, and we've never done it again.
No, that's okay though.
All right. I saw your garlic pictures on social media a couple of weeks ago. Do you do the green sprouts grow automatically? I am moving to a similar zone and as you are, and want to grow garlic. I know you have videos out, but for the planting purposes, where do I plant it? How long does it take to grow?
Yeah, so I actually, on my social media, I posted a picture of Joey and I with our beautiful garlic harvest this year. And my friend was asking, because when she buys garlic from the store and doesn't get to it right away, it sprouts. Mm-hmm. And so she wanted to know if that was like similar. And I said, no, it is, but it's not. I mean, I guess it kind of is. But it's the sprouts that come out of the garlic that you get, that you grow, is the sprouts. It's not the same as when you let it sit for too long. I guess it kind of is though.
Well, yeah, it's the same, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it is kind of. Anyway, I explained that, and then also you plant it in October, harvest it in late June, early July, so it takes up some real estate. You don't necessarily have to plant it in a garden bed. You can put it in a flower bed or along the side of the house in that type of situation. And needs pretty much full sun.
Right.
So, yep.
So, with that being said, we are out of time, and we've reached the portion of the program where we discuss what we learned today. So I learned that with seed saving,
you want to keep them in like a paper envelope or something, not plastic. I never really thought about that, but that is smart. So
I learned that the average during the pandemic and even after garden products and merchandise was $616 on average, meaning there was people spending a whole lot more and there was people like us spending a whole lot less. But that is a tremendous amount of money to be spent. And you spend your money on however you want. Just that was a shocking number to me.
Right. I could tell. So what we learned today is brought to you by honeybeehealthy.com. Whether you're a gardener, a bee hobbyist, or a professional beekeeper, Honeybee Healthy Inc. has the products to help you maintain a healthy hive and thriving garden. For more information on how to use Honeybee Healthy in your garden, visit honeybeehealthy.com.
When we tune in next week to the program, we'll be discussing chemicals versus organic chemicals, as well as is the green industry really as green as they make it out to be. Our guest is author Graham Gardner will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.